All right, everybody, welcome out to another episode of Windshield Time at Mountainland Supply. I'm here with Brandon, our CEO, and Spencer Shorts, our producer extraordinaire. So today we're going to be talking about our last core value that we didn't necessarily skip over it, but we did because other stuff came.
It's better than saying we forgot about it.
Yeah. We skipped over it. Other stuff came, and we
got excited about the other topics.
Right. We did a little bit of a break from it, but we're coming back for the last one, and it's ownership.
Yeah.
And this one started out as accountability, and we had decided that this is accountability is more like a top-down. I'm going to hold you accountable for what you do. There can be a negative connotation to accountability, and that's not what we wanted. We wanted it to be something that was I voluntarily give up something in myself for the greater good, and that's more ownership.
Yeah, I would say accountability. It seems like we had a little bit of a. I'm going to try and. I'm thinking of how to phrase this the best way. We had a little bit of that culture, I'd say, within the company, and it kind of rubbed people the wrong way, which I totally understood. And so I remember, I believe it was you, Joey, that brought this up, and you said, hey, we should probably think about switching this. And it resonated with me. You know, I'm a finance guy, and I'm like, accountability, ownership, what's the real difference? But if you sit there and think about it, there is a big difference in how it comes across. And the ownership is, like, for me, is kind of what you said. It's I take pride in what I do. You know, that's what we want to instill in our culture and with our employees is taking pride in what you're doing and taking pride in the company that you're doing it for.
Yeah.
And that was in Mountainland. That was in our culture as well. I would say that was in the DNA of it. And that ownership really brought that out, and it kind of described that for me of really how people acted within our company, and then pair that up with, we actually are owners. I mean, it was a beautiful thing to see that the two came together. So yeah. I think it's spot on.
Yeah, there was some synergy there. And when we created the core values, we were not yet an ESOP.
No.
We had not made the transaction. Yeah.
On the verge, we knew we were going to become one.
Right. We just hadn't made the transaction yet. So, you know, when I think that ownership is even a step beyond accountability, because accountability is like, everybody's held accountable for their actions. Everybody's held accountable.
I have to do it because I'm being told to do it.
There's compulsory means at work there, and ownership is, again, it's like I'm giving up of myself because I believe in myself and I believe in what we're doing here.
Yeah.
So I'll take ownership of it, absolutely, because that's who we are.
Yeah.
And you're right; it was already ingrained in our culture. That's what all of those core values are. They're already in the culture. It's just you pull them out and put them on a wall.
Defining them, like actually saying, hey, that's the one. That's the thing that holds us true to who we are. And that was kind of the fun part coming up with the core values, is trying to figure that out and defining those and saying what are the real things, the values that really make us who we are, and trying to figure that out.
You talk about this that you had heard from at one of your conferences when you were investigating ESOPs, that they said that your company can never become an ESOP. An ESOP will not save your company, but how does that go?
A lot of people, so this was right before we became an ESOP, went to a conference. It's called NCEO. I was there with some other employees, and I was listening to this guy, and he's Torch Industries is where he's from, and Bill is his name. I've met him multiple times afterwards since this, but he got up there and he was talking to a group of people that were investigating becoming an ESOP. He got up there and he said, basically saying, a lot of people will go ESOP thinking that it's going to make their culture better, make their company better. And he said, but what they don't realize is you actually need the culture first to be able to sustain and have an ESOP.
Yeah.
And so he's like, make sure you have that before you become an ESOP, that you can actually do that.
Yeah.
And so I came back, and Brian Anderson at the time was the CEO, and I remember it was this aha moment for me, and it's just like, oh my gosh, do we have this culture? Can we do this?
Are we going to be able to do it?
Yeah, and I think I remember I talked to Brian, then I think I went to the executive team and I talked to you guys about it, and it was one of those things. Legitimately, it's, do we have this or not?
It was a gut check.
Yeah, and if not, then why are we doing this? If we really don't have this culture to sustain it, I think ownership is one of those that when I saw that, or when I heard that, ownership was probably the one that came out and said, okay, we need this for an ESOP, and we already have it.
Right.
And I describe it to people like, I felt like our culture was a diamond that just had been encased with rock. And we saw a little bit pieces shine through that you're like, I know there's something cool down there in that rock, but I don't know exactly what it looks like, and I don't know what it is. And just over the years, as we've become an ESOP, as we've defined our core values, we've like chipped it away, and we've got this diamond now that it's like, okay, this is what it looks like, and look at how beautiful and how precious this is.
Yeah.
So
the thing that I really love about that whole, I guess, analogy that Bill told to you guys is, I'm sure there's a ton of ESOPs that one of their core values is ownership, but we chose that before we chose ESOP.
Yeah.
And that's what I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I really do.
And accountability, when we chose accountability originally, I think what we're trying to say is ownership.
Meant was ownership.
Yeah. It wasn't, we want to hold you accountable.
Yeah.
It was people hold themselves accountable.
Right.
Like they step up when they need to step up because they know they want to do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's so many great people that we've had that have come before you and I, Joe, that are like, they're phenomenal. Yep. They were great mentors, great examples to us that they stepped up when they needed to step up because they had a love for this company. They had a love for each other. And it was a phenomenal thing.
And we stand on their shoulders.
We do. And we try. I try, I know you try too, to exemplify that example that we've had and to set that example for everybody else so that they can look at us and say, they define ownership.
Yeah.
And the rest of the core values, not just ownership.
No, for sure. But we are talking about ownership, the one that we neglected.
I just want to make sure that everybody knows that it's not ownership. It's all of them.
No.
All 6 of them. Let's not forget one.
Yeah. 5 and almost 6 now.
Almost 6.
The interesting thing to me about ownership is like we just had the sales summit this last week. And you get up there and Brandon and I are always asked to speak at that for one reason or another. And you get up on that stage and you talk to all of our salespeople. There's 140 salespeople in there, plus managers.
Yeah.
It's a striking place. I mean, when you get up there and you see the power of that room and the talent that's in that room,
it's intimidating.
It is.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, there's a lot of really talented people in that room.
Yep. And
when you stand in front of them, you can feel that they all own what they do.
No.
Every one of them is, for lack of a better term, they're running their own business.
Yeah.
Those full commission salespeople, they're running their own business. So yeah, they really do own it. They own it every single day. And that is echoed through every single process and every single department in our company. When you go out on branch visits, you go see some other branch, you see another operation, another department. There isn't one that doesn't have that ownership mentality.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
Yeah, I would agree with you. It takes all of us, right? And it takes all of us. We're all owners of this company, this wonderful company. And it's not just one group or another group. It's all of us that takes it. But it's such a, I'm going to kind of go off topic here, but when you get in front of those groups, it's a daunting task. It's intimidating. Joe, I know you're a natural. You like being in the light.
I don't like it,
but no.
I've done it enough. No,
I think you and I are pretty much alike that when you get in front of our company, when you do like the end of year celebration and you have to get up there, it's kind of intimidating, but it's also a pretty cool experience.
Yeah.
To be able to see this huge group of people that we're all in it for one. We're all owners in one company and we're rowing in the same direction for the most part.
Yeah.
Right. It's a cool experience, but man, it's a daunting task.
It is.
And then often, I don't know if you do this, we're going off topic, but I wonder, I'm like, why do you want to hear from me?
Yeah.
What
value am I going to add to this?
I'm a finance guy. I'm a nerd. I'm just a normal guy. I put my pants on the same way that every single one of you do. Why here? And anyways, it's a cool experience to be able to do that. Super humbled to be able to do that. And what a great experience to be able to do that. So
yeah, I always think back to the very first meeting that I was ever, like the first get together I was part of at this company. We had 60 employees and we all fit in a room at the Marriott in Provo.
Yeah.
And then you get up and your year-end celebration or any of these, larger get-togethers. It's like We have a very strong group of people that, like you said, are all rowing in the same direction, with maybe the exception of one or two, and that's okay too, because either we'll change them or they'll decide they don't want to be around.
Yeah,
That's
the culture.
That's the beauty of it.
Comes back to the culture.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. The level of ownership here is not to be taken lightly.
No,
we even were told by ADS was there at our sales summit, and Mark Applin came up to me afterwards and was like, you guys don't know, like this doesn't happen everywhere. This is unique that you have this many people who actually give a crap about what they're doing. And he's like, you don't have any infighting down here. I mean, you have people who are all ready to go lockstep with each other and take down markets, It's pretty cool.
Isn't it interesting? Because often, like, I think about it, I'm like, everybody does it.
Yeah.
Well, like, we're not.
We assume.
Yeah. You just think that every company's doing what we're doing.
Because they should be, right?
Yeah. Because you see some other companies, and there's other successful companies, you're like, oh, they're doing it too. They got to be doing this, and they got to have this culture. And
in
they
one
got
way,
to
shape, or form. Right?
Exactly. They, of course, they all get along together, and that, it's like, okay. But then you hear those types of things, you're like, whoa, wait a minute, and it just kind of humbles you, and it reminds you that we have something special here.
Yeah.
And
it's not to say that it's all wine and roses,
No.
right? There are certainly conflicts that happen, but when you can all believe in the 6 core values that we have, and you can all believe that person, if they're here, somebody has seen them exhibit those core values at some point.
Yep.
So they're probably a decent person too.
Yep.
And if you can give them that a little bit of grace in that moment and say, you know what, I'm not seeing it today, but somebody else did, I'm going to give them a chance.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the beauty of the culture.
Yeah.
And that helps you have patience through these crappy processes that we sometimes go through, because they exist.
Yeah. And we have our problems. We got our issues. We work through them, but we seem to work through them, I guess, a lot better than other companies.
Yeah.
And maybe our issues aren't as big as other companies. That's the other thing too.
Yeah, or as deep-seated.
That I realize too, we often, as we talk about stuff, we're like, oh my gosh, we need to fix this, and we got to fix this, and we got to fix this. And then you talk to other companies, you're like, whoa.
We wish we had that problem.
Or, I'm happy to have this problem instead of what you have over here. And it's kind of a thing I think we just take for granted every once in a while, that we have an awesome company. We have an awesome group of employees, awesome culture. We should every once in a while take a step back and give ourselves credit. Not you and I, but each and every one of us as a whole, as all the employees, and just say, you know what, we work hard and we have a wonderful thing here. Yeah. And we are very blessed and grateful for it. So
couldn't agree more.
Part of ownership, right?
Yeah.
I think is part of that, recognizing that you are part of this and you own this, you're an owner in this.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So from us to you guys, thanks for owning it.
Yep.
Thanks for doing all you do. Thanks for caring enough to, continue to be here and slog along with the rest of us. You guys are awesome. You're exceptional. Whether you believe it or not, you are. So thank you for doing it.
Yep. Likewise. I'll echo those same words. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you for what everyone does. And especially, I mean, the only listeners that we have are our moms, right?
So thanks for raising us,
Mom.
All right. That's it for ownership. We appreciate you guys jumping in and sharing some windshield time with us. We'll catch you down the road.
See you guys.